Are you ready to join the Bitcoin craze? Right now, Blackrock, the biggest fund manager in the world, managing trillions, they're joining in and they're investing massively in Bitcoin. Why? What's happened? Well, now the SEC, American regulator, has allowed an ETF. What does that mean? Should you buy Bitcoin or should you buy an ETF? Well, let me explain the pros and cons and the basics of Bitcoin. First of all, the reason for Bitcoin in the first place was so that people could self-bank. In other words, it was formed on the basis that people didn't want the US dollar, didn't want to hold in government currency. They wanted to have something where a computer was keeping score, not actually beholden to governments. So in other words, going against the original people that wanted crypto and actually having an ETF is the opposite of why it was formed. So let's have a look at the basics then and see 21 million Bitcoin. You can actually go to an exchange. Defia's got one starting. It's called When, check out When Group, or you could actually buy an ETF. You could also do that off Devia. Why would you do either? Well, if you have Bitcoin and you hold it as a physical asset, you can take it offline, put it on a USB, or keep it yourself. In other words, you don't have to have custody. If you want to buy an ETF, then what you're basically doing is you're using someone like Blackrock or Fidelity to hold the Bitcoin on your behalf. What's the advantages? What's the most secure? Well, you could argue either way. In other words, is it more secure having Blackrock to hold an ETF and hold the Bitcoin, or would you rather take it offline and hold it yourself? It's a personal opinion. Then perhaps it's the ease of purchase. If you want to buy an ETF, it's a tick on a box. In other words, you're buying an ISIN number, you're buying a particular fund if you want. If you want to buy the physical, then you're keeping it yourself. You've got to open an exchange account. Maybe it's more difficult to do. But of course, if you go with the original theory, you'd want to own your own Bitcoin. Why would you own Bitcoin anyway? Well, of course, we're now looking, perhaps it's an alternative to gold. And that's what BlackRock say. They say, why would you have gold when exactly the same properties as Bitcoin has? There's a limited amount. You're in a situation whereby you've got something that you can hold. It's more portable than gold, fairly obviously. It's a much better alternative than gold. I agree with them. It is an alternative to gold. But also we look at it and it can be used as currency. In other words, rather than have US dollars, you can hold Bitcoin, you can actually spend it in today's world, and you can send it to somewhere else much less expensively in general than you could by using US dollars or another currency. Should you hold Bitcoin? Long-term investment? For me, it's been part of my portfolio for a period of time. So yes, I think you should. Should you have an ETF or should you own Bitcoin itself? For me, it's hold Bitcoin itself. Why? Well, it's slightly less expensive, and I actually like the original theory of I'm in control of my assets. In other words, I like that concept. You have your own opinion. Would you buy an ETF or would you prefer to hold the asset yourself?